to be back here at Ignite in person, like for the first time in 4 years. And thank you for all the Entra fans. I know this standing room is awesome. So much has changed in the last 4 years, if not more. Our security landscape has really expanded. And now we have so many more identities, more endpoints, more apps, and data to protect. And we have so many new ways for malicious actors and insiders to cause damage, and including AI. So it is pretty overwhelming, isn't it? But it should not be. The products in Microsoft Entra really work together to help you secure across identities, devices, networks, and workloads. Our portfolio extends to any user type, including customers, partners, and digital workloads. It brings together best breed of tools for identity governance, identity protection, and verifiable credentials. And now, with our new Security Service Edge solution, Entra is converging identity and network access control into a single policy engine. So our demo today will show some of these. But before we dive into this, I want to summarize all the top news in Entra. Everything we are adding to Microsoft Entra is designed to help you stay secure ahead of evolving threats. So it all comes down to one thing, which is making it easier for you to secure access. We want to help you to deploy the right tools and configure the right policies, whether you have a team of defenders or have no IT department at all. Tomorrow, you will hear from Charlie and Vasu talk about how AI will reshape the way you manage security. Security Copilot in Microsoft Entra will help you to simplify your world. It will help you to get answers that quickly and troubleshoot faster. You can ask it, why is this user marked as high risk? Or summarize signing and audit logs relevant to this security incident. You can also ask it to explain what a conditional access policy is and does in simple human language. You can even ask for help to designing and building a workflow, lifecycle workflow for you. So anytime you need help, the Security Copilot will be there to assist you. Last year, we turned on security defaults for almost 7 million tenants. Security defaults are the base settings that we recommend to help protect any identity-related threats, like password replay, password spray, and phishing. And this cuts the number of compromises for those tenants by 80%. And we got great feedback. So people have told us, OK, we love security defaults. So now let's do conditional access. So we're now going to create baseline conditional access policies for you and roll them out automatically. We're starting with 3 policies that enforces MFA in high-risk scenarios. So they deploy in report-only mode first. So you have an opportunity to get familiar with them. You can customize them and opt it out if you choose to. And this is just the beginning. Eventually, Security Copilot will analyze your entire environment alongside the evolving threat signals we gather to recommend conditional access policies that's tailored just for you. Next, we are expanding the capabilities for the preview of our identity-centric Security Service Edge solutions, Microsoft Entra Internet Access, and Entra Private Access. Entra Internet Access is our secure web gateway. So many of you are already testing it to secure access to Microsoft 365 workload. And later this year, it will secure access to all internet applications and resources. So you can use internet access to restrict access to unsafe or non-compliant resources as well as content based on the domain names as well as web category. It also protects cloud apps that are integrated with Entra ID so that can protect against from like token replay, if you will. Private access, which is our zero trust network access solution, now extends multi-factor authentication to all private applications and resources. It now supports more protocols, including UDP and private DNS. So you can apply MFA with the strongest authentication methods to any applications located anywhere, whether user is remote or on premises. And this means now you can retire your traditional VPN solution because they just not scale to the cloud and they do not let you set granular access policies. And since internet access and private access are part of the Microsoft Entra portfolio, they share a universal conditional access policy engine with all other Microsoft products. And so you can write a single policy, includes access controls across identities, devices, your endpoints, your data, and network. Just another way we are reducing complexity for you. And there are even more new capabilities that we're announcing as a part of Microsoft Entra. So please check out my blog post for more information. So how does all of this look like in real life? And this is what we're going to show you today as we step through a new employee's first weeks on the job. So Jade is going to come on stage to demo a new employee experience. So Jade, welcome.
Thank you, Joy. As you already know, onboarding involves a lot. It starts with background checks, collecting and verifying your documents, showing up with a photo ID to get your employee badge, and then not to mention actually setting your computer up with all the tools you need to get work done. And if you work remotely, traditional onboarding can be even harder. So let me step you through a much simpler onboarding experience. Let's say I'm a brand new employee at this company called Woodgrove. I interviewed remotely, I got my job offer remotely, and now I'm about to onboard remotely. So Woodgrove has sent this email to my personal account, and it tells me step by step exactly what I need to do to get started. So the first step here is to install Microsoft Authenticator on my phone. So Microsoft Authenticator is going to play a really central role in my onboarding experience. In fact, I'm about to use it to complete pretty much all of the steps on just my phone. So that's going to include the next step, which is to verify my identity using LexisNexis. So I don't need to go to the nearest Woodgrove office anymore to show off all my paperwork and get, my ID and everything checked out. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and use LexisNexis Risk Solutions to identify myself. So I'm going to go ahead, take my selfie, and then I'm going to upload my government-issued ID. So companies or organizations that often do background checks or ID verification using physical documents are now using Entra Verified ID to create a fully digital experience. I'm going to hit Next. It's going to verify my information, and my verification is complete. Awesome. OK, so let's go ahead and add this to my Authenticator wallet. This right here is going to be a verified ID. And so I can now use this and with any organization or a company again, if I want to prove that I am who I say I am. So I'm adding this to my Authenticator wallet, and now I'm going back, successfully issued, and now I'm going to move on to the third step. So now I'm going to complete and get my employee ID. Going to follow the prompts once again, hit Next. This looks familiar to me. Let's scroll down, and let's go ahead and share my credentials. I'm going to go ahead, share that verified ID with this 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 employee portal, and I'm done. Okay, let's continue onboarding. I'm going to go ahead, retrieve my verified ID, and now I'm going to add this to my authenticator wallet. So now I'm going to have two IDs in my authenticator wallet. This right here is my employee ID. So let's go ahead, let's click it, and now it has all the information on me. So it has my company name, my department is government sales, great. And so now if I ever want to get access to anything, I can go ahead and share this. So say, for example, I want an employee benefit at 𝗦𝗲𝗀. I can go ahead and share the fact that I work at 𝗦𝗲𝗀. If I maybe want a new job, I could probably share the fact that my start date with 𝗦𝗲𝗀 was on this date and I finished on this date. Now let's come back to this email. The last step here is to collect my temporary access pass. And once I do this, I should finally be able to onboard. So 𝗦𝗲𝗀 has set this portal up so that it can hand out those temporary access passes. I already have my card, so I'm going to go ahead, share this one more time, and here we are. I now have my email and my one-time temporary access pass, and now I can actually onboard. So it's telling me to go ahead and onboard my work account in the Authenticator app. So I'm coming back, adding my work account, obviously, and now I'm going to sign in. So this is going to be really different from actually going to an all-day orientation and then standing in line to get my badge. Instead, I'm just going to put my email in, that temporary access pass in, and now I'm done. I'm completely onboarded, and I've done everything so far on just my phone. So now, let's go ahead and let's move on to my computer. So I'm in the middle of setting my PC up, and let's see what happens here. Great. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in. So that's the email I just got. And I'm going to go ahead, and now I have to enter a password. But I never set one up. So let me go ahead and use an app instead. So now I'm getting a prompt on my phone, and it's asking me to go ahead and sign in. I know I'm the one doing this, so I'm going to put 52 in, which was what my computer has asked me to do. And I'm good. Awesome. So let's come back to my computer, and here we are. Everything is getting set up for me, and it's totally passwordless. Everything that you've seen so far has been automated using Microsoft Entra, be it from that first email I received, to verifying my employee ID, to getting my employee credentials. I've done all of this digitally. Even setting up my computer has mostly been hands-off because of Windows Autopilot. I just had to answer those few questions that it asked me to. So now, it wants me to use my face to sign in faster and more securely. Let's go ahead and set up. I have to use Windows Hello. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up my PIN, and I'm going to let Windows take care of the rest again. So, how did this all happen? I'd like to invite John Savill to join us on stage today. Some of you might already be fans of his very popular YouTube channel where he whiteboards his explanations, and he's going to do that for us today. Welcome, John.
Hey, everyone. So we saw a number of really cool technologies all working together right there. And it all kicked off with Jade received an email. Now, this email was triggered by her account being provisioned in their Entra tenant. Now, there's a number of different ways we can provision accounts, but most commonly as an organization, in an ideal world, we're going to hook in to our HR system. This is generally the source of truth for all the different accounts, the employees we have. And what we're leveraging is the provisioning services of Entra so that the HR system can easily go ahead and add those accounts. It can populate details. So it can give us things like, hey, the personal email address, the start date, and much more. So now Jade has her account in Entra. Now, if you think of a typical life cycle of an employee, there's the joiner, mover, leaver scenarios. And when someone joins, there's a bunch of tasks we have to do, and similarly when someone leaves. And so to automate a huge amount of this and make it very, very smooth, we have lifecycle workflows. And these enable us to run various tasks. Now, these tasks, there's a huge number built in, or we can write our own using logic apps-based extensions. And this is going to trigger off of the start date or the end date for our employee. And this can be the actual date, it could be a number of days before, it could be a number of days after. So it's triggering off of that start date, and we're calling some tasks. And the big one we're really focusing on here is, well, sending Jade that email. Now, I could manually create that lifecycle workflow, but this is AI, we're all about Copilot, so is there a Copilot that can help me do this? So here we're in the lifecycle workflow screen, let's give ourselves a little bit more space, and straight away there's the Copilot saying, hey, can I be of help? Yes, yes you can. It's giving me suggestions. If I'm not 100% sure of what I want to do, it's giving me some ideas for, well, maybe you want to go through these types of activities. But I've got a pretty good idea, so I'm just going to paste this in, of what I want it to do. So I'm saying, hey, look, I want to trigger this off of the joining. It's this type of employee. And it's saying, well, do you want to customize these tasks? And it's giving me the idea of the email. So yes, I'm going to paste in a subject. I've got my own body. So this is all within still the Copilot. It's guiding me through key stages I'm probably going to want to do. I'll hit OK. And at this point, I think I'm good, and I'll let it go ahead and create a draft. Now, it's only creating the draft object. I can still customize it. So I can actually go back, and if we review the tasks, look at the things it's going to do. It's going to enable the user account on their start date, send them that welcome email, add them to groups, request access packages. And since we customized that email, yep, there's everything I pasted in. I think at this point, I'm good to go ahead and create it. Now remember, the whole point of the lifecycle workflow is it's going to trigger on that start time, but we can also run it on demand. So in this case, for Jade, we're going to go ahead and just run it for me right now, and it's going to go ahead and create a task that will run this on demand. I could modify aspects of this if I wanted to. It looks good to go. And now I'll be able to actually see the history of this brand new workflow. Let me go ahead and refresh. OK, perfect. So we can see 1 user processed, 4 tasks. And if we go and look, it's still in progress. But if we refresh, it is now completed. So Jade got that email and got those various other access to the things we talked about. Now, what was that first step in the email? It was to go ahead and set up these verified credentials. Now, the first thing was that authenticator application. So on Jade's mobile device, not saying any particular model, but we go ahead and install that authenticator application. Now, the authenticator app has a number of different purposes, but what we're going to focus on right now is its idea as being our digital wallet. Now, just like the real world, if we go and buy a wallet, it's empty. We have to fill it with credentials. Now, I could create my own. I could make statements about myself, but looking the way I do and sounding the way I do, no one would trust it. So what people want to see is credentials from someone they trust, and then the ability to verify that really did come from that person. So in the real world, hey, we get a government-issued ID. It's got little holograms and things on it. I'm going to trust that credential. It proves it's me. And then I can take that credential and give it to other people who trust it, and can then give me my employee badge, my bank card, whatever else that may be. And this is exactly what we saw. So Jade started out going to an issuer. In this case, it was LexisNexis. Now, you saw them perform some, give me a picture, give me your government-issued ID, to make sure that really was Jade. And then they go ahead and create a verifiable credential. So this is from LexisNexis. And it's populated with a number of claims. Now, remember, on a real ID, we have little holograms and things. Well, who we eventually give this to has to be able to verify it really was from them. So the whole point of verifiable credentials is it's anchored in a trust system. Now, there are different trust systems out there. There's different options and pros and cons. But fundamentally, it's going to be linked into that trust system, and then it's given to Jade. And Jade goes ahead and adds it to her digital wallet. Now, the key point, in traditional pictures, whenever you draw an IDP, they're in the middle of the picture. They're in the control. With a verified credential, the user is in the middle. The user, it's their wallet, it's their verified credential. They get to pick if they want to share it and what attributes of it they want to share. So in this case, well, I want to get my work ID. So now Woodgrove is going to act as a verifier. Jade goes to Woodgrove, says, hey, I want my employee ID, and they have to ask, will you share your LexisNexis verifiable credential? Yep, we're willing to share that. They then go to this trust system. They go to the trust system to verify it. Once they're satisfied with that, they act as an issuer themselves. They create their own Woodgrove verifiable credential with their own claims, which they would anchor in a trust system. And then they gave it to Jade, who added it to her digital wallet. So now Jade has those two verifiable credentials we saw. And this is fantastic. Great. Now I've got that ability to digitally prove who I am the same way I can with my physical wallet. Well, now I actually do want to onboard to my work account. Passwords are horrible. No one likes passwords. If you say the word password, people are liable to never talk to you again. Everyone wants passwordless. But how do I initially prove I am the owner of that account without a password? There has to be that initial proof. So this is where we had the temporary access pass. So the temporary access pass is a one-time use. In this case, it went to a site. Lifecycle Workflows also could have generated that, emailed it to Jade's manager, who could have contacted her out of band. So Jade now knows that temporary access pass. She goes and adds her work account to the authenticator application, which now is a passwordless authentication method for Jade. She can leverage that to authenticate as her work account, and that temporary access pass is now useless. So the app is now enabling all of that authentication. Now, finally, Jade had her machine. She wanted to join it to her work, but at the same time, she's setting up Hello for Business. Now, we hear passkeys everywhere today. And Hello for Business is a device-bound passkey. It leverages the trusted platform module in the PC to store that cipher, that encrypted information that would enable me to now authenticate. It's based on those gold standard FIDO2, the web authentication. But she has to authenticate to join this. And what we saw this time is it prompted in the application. But it wasn't just, yes, I'm not going to have MFA fatigue. I have to type in that specific number it's showing me, and it gave context. It showed the location I'm trying to authenticate from. It showed me the application that was trying to do the authentication. I have all the information to make the right decisions about this. So Jade said, yes, I'm approving that. It then completed that process. And this is now registered as a phishing-resistant passwordless authentication method. It only works on this machine. I can't be duped or confused as a user to approve some other type of authentication. So with that, I want to hand it back to Joy, who has some other exciting news for us.
Yeah, thank you, John and Jade. You know, with Microsoft Entra, you can really make a great first impression with an onboarding experience that really supports the way people work today. It is low on frustration and really high on productivity. So you saw how fast it was for Jade to verify for her identity online. And thanks to all the great partners we work with, ID verification will be much easier and more secure. You also saw Jade set up passwordless credential in Microsoft Authenticator, and then set up a Windows Hello for Business using device-bound passkey. So we know passkeys have gotten a lot of industry support, and we want to bring them to the enterprise. So today, I'm pleased to make a couple new announcements. First, we are bringing passkeys to Microsoft Authenticator. So you will be able to create and manage passkeys using Authenticator. And then second, you can now create device-bound passkeys in Authenticator. So this will give you the same level of security as FIDO2 security keys, but it is a lot more convenient and frankly less expensive than purchasing all the separate security keys for all of your users. So with that, Jade, what's next?
Now I'm ready to get started. So let's go ahead and go over to Outlook. I've got an email from my manager and it looks important. It says, action required, do this first. Let's open it. It says, welcome aboard, Jade. Thank you, Nick. Before our first one-on-one, please take this training. So let's start with that. Some organizations often require training credentials or some sort of certification before they grant access to certain resources. And because I work in government sales, I do need to take some training. So I've finished it. So let's go ahead and get my verified course completion card. I'm here, I'm scrolling down, and now I'm gonna go ahead and retrieve my transcript. So I'm gonna go ahead, scan this QR code. Perfect. I'm gonna enter my verification code in here. I'm hitting next, I'm adding this in, and I'm good. Sounds great. Let's come back to my computer, and I'm done on this end. Perfect. So let's go ahead and go next. I'm done. Great. The next step here is to go ahead and go to My Access portal to set up with our sales CRM and finance dashboard tools. Cool. So this is taking me to My Access, and My Access is essentially a self-service portal so that people can go ahead and request access to certain packages or certain resources. Since I do work in government sales, I do need access to this package. I'm going to continue, and now I'm going to go and present my verified ID. So what is essentially going to happen is that I'm going to scan this QR code right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and open this in Authenticator, and now I'm going to share this transcript that I just got. So doing this is going to prove that I actually did the training that I needed to do. So I'm coming back here, and now it's going ahead and just verifying. And now I'm going to submit my request. It's getting processed, and after this processes, I should actually be able to access My Apps. My Apps is going to have essentially everything I need. And when I say everything, I also mean that sales dashboards. The thing with Microsoft Entra is that the products work really well together. So it's easy for organizations to automate requirements and allow you to get access to resources. And because all of these verified IDs are based on open standards, 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗶cie can actually trust credentials, certifications, completion certificates, or anything that it chooses to trust from third-party vendors or anyone that it chooses to do so with. John, can you walk us through this?
Yeah, definitely. So once again, we saw a number of different things working together. So we talked about before, get that back, that, well, we have that joiner, mover, leaver, and often people change roles. And those new roles require access to different sites. They need access to different roles. And we're maybe a bit slow of giving those permissions, but we're even worse taking them back. And so eventually users end up with this huge mass of permissions, which is terrible from a security perspective. And so what we're leveraging is entitlement management. And we're going to create access packages, which is a pretty good name. It's a package of access. But more specifically, we're going to define a number of roles. Now, again, these could be access to certain sites, certain group memberships, app assignments. But we can then define requirements. And this is where it's really powerful. Now, that requirement could be, I need a certain party to approve it, maybe a manager, an owner of an application. It might be you have to come from a certain organization. That's fantastic for partner scenarios. I have certain key partners. I want them to be able to go and onload to this access package automatically. I can also require a verifiable credential. And what we saw was Jade got a brand new verifiable credential. And we saw when she applied for this, it prompted. So Jade went and made a request. Say, hey, I would like this access package. And it said, well, I need to see that verifiable credential. She got the choice, but she chose yes. I want to share it. And that then met those requirements. Now, another key point about access packages is I can time limit them. So in the past, we have that struggle, hey, I add you to a group, I give you this application, you got it forever. I could say, you get it for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, you need to come and request it again, or maybe it's 60 days, whatever that is. But it now stops me just amassing this huge amount of different permissions. So great, Jade now has those particular sets of roles, and then she accessed an application. But what's really interesting, that application was on premises. So now we have this private network that is not just accessible from the internet. And we're trying to access this specific resource, but how did that function from Jade's machine that's just at home? So we've set up Microsoft Entra Private Access. Now there's a connector component we've already set up, and that establishes a connection to the Microsoft Entra Edge. And of course, that now has connectivity to the particular resource. Now within Microsoft Entra, we can now define very specifically the exact resources we want to make available and to whom we want to make them available. On Jade's machine, there's a global secure access client. Now, when Jade requests that particular resource, this global secure access client is again making a connection to the Entra Edge. But it's not just passing it straight through. This is not a regular VPN. This is following zero trust principles. It's least privilege, it's micro-segmentation. There's no general access. I can get access only to that specific port of that specific protocol. But it's also, I have to explicitly verify every access. That fantastic conditional access engine we love is applied here. So I have to meet the requirements, be it user health, user risk, device health, whatever that may be, before I can then go and get access. But it's completely transparent to the user. It's working from anywhere. And this is how we saw Jade could easily go and access that application. Jade, back over to you.
Great. Now let's imagine that 2 weeks have gone by and I've been busy working. So I'm going to go over and head to my corner cafe. And what's really great is that I can work from anywhere and still continue to be productive. So I'm all signed in. Let me go ahead and connect to this cafe's open Wi-Fi. And so let's move on, and now let's go to the internet. So a friend of mine recommended this really good website, and it's called salesaccelerator.pro. And it's essentially where sales professionals go and exchange tips, and I want to be productive, so I'm going over here. But now I see this ad for some really new cool tools I can download. So what am I about to do? I'm an end user, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on it. But I'm blocked, and company policy isn't letting me go through with it. And I think that might be for a good reason. So let me move on to my next task. I need to go ahead and upload a design pitch for our design vendor. So let's go to Dropbox and do that. And I'm still blocked. Great. OK. So it looks like Woodgrove needs to install some important updates. And I think that's probably why I actually can't access Dropbox. John, what's going on here?
Definitely. So if Microsoft Entra Private Access is all about getting access to resources in private networks, we then have Microsoft Entra Internet Access. So as we know, the internet is full of wonderful, wonderful things, and also some non-wonderful things. And what internet access is going to enable me to do is for any website, maybe non-federated status application, I can, through this same global secure access client, well, it's going to establish a channel once again to the Microsoft Entra Edge. But this time we can define security profiles. Now these can contain fully qualified domain names of sites. It could be web categories. So it's really acting as a secure web gateway, and we apply conditional access. So that first site, well, it's in a category that it was just blocked. It did not allow it. But then the next site, the Dropbox, well, it's not allowing her because now we're also integrating with the MDM solution. We're integrating with Intune. Now, Intune is assigning policy to this machine that says you have to be patched. You have to be patched if you want to be compliant. Well, it then also sends health signals to Entra, identifying, at this time, the non-compliant state of that machine because it's not patched. Once Jade goes through and actually applies those patches, it will be compliant. It will send a positive health state back to the conditional access, and then, unless this is a really terrible demo, should be able to go and actually access that site. So do a good job.
Great, let's come back then. Great, so now let's restart this. And now I'm going to go ahead and try to access Dropbox one more time. Let's hope that I can actually access it this time. And great, I can. Sounds good. OK, let's go back to Outlook and see if I have any more outstanding tasks here. Great, I have another email from my manager, and it says, one more thing. If you want to truly understand our corporate strategy, I recommend watching a classic video of our founder. And that's a really old school UNC link to a file share. And I mean that. Prior to these Ignite rehearsals, I'd never seen a UNC link. So let's click that. OK, it's asking me to re-authenticate. So let's grab my phone. It's sending a notification. I'm going to go ahead and approve that. And here's the video in an archived folder.
Cool.
Cool. John?
So this is once again using the Microsoft Entra private access. But the goal this is trying to really emphasize here is it doesn't just have to be a TCP, HTTP-based application. It's any app that is TCP or UDP. It doesn't matter. It could be SSH, RDP, SMB. It does not care. But the key point is, remember, this is still verifying explicitly every single action, every single resource I want to see. So it's still applying conditional access. I can require things like MFA with zero change to that target resource. It doesn't have to be aware of Entra or what MFA is. We're doing the connection to the Entra edge. It is enforcing the conditional access. It makes sure the user, the device, whatever that is, and only if it's healthy is it then allowing it to pass through. And this really is the key difference. Again, we're used to the idea of, hey, we have a VPN, and with a VPN, once we're connected, we get this very broad network access. This is not that. The whole point of this solution is it's only connecting to the Entra edge where we verify explicitly everything we do. We're only allowing through that micro-segmented bit of network traffic. So we're really focusing on those zero trust principles. Now, I wanted to finish my part with talking of MFA. Sometimes it can be really difficult to work out, well, why did someone get prompted to perform an MFA? We know if we've ever tried to do this ourselves, there's a whole bunch of sign-in logs. There might be like 5 sign-in logs for one request as, hey, you didn't have the authentication. Then you had to get interrupted, then you did it, and now it was in your token. So I'm going to try and do this. So I can go to my sign-in logs, and I'm trying to find one for Mike. So we'll scroll down. OK, there's Mike. I can see it's the multi-factor authentication. Now at this point, I could go to the conditional access tab. I could look at the authentication details. I could look at 5 events around it, or I can go and look at Copilot. So in this case, I'm just going to ask it, why was Mike prompted for MFA? And the key point what Security Copilot can do here is if I have permission to those records, it can act on my behalf and look at the surrounding records as well, and in this case, see the complete authentication flow. It's identifying all of the conditional access policies that applied, and it's probably that number 3 is the one I'm caring about, but it's showing me, yes, they were prompted for MFA, but I can also then see that, well, that was met because in the last authentication, that last event log, I have that strong authentication claim in my token. And I think this is a really nice summary of when we think about Security Copilot. In the lifecycle workflows, it helped me do it a lot quicker, so it expedited what I have to do. In this case, it helped me in my investigation, but it's also suggesting next things. If I'm stuck, I could just ask it, hey, what should I be doing next? It's just there to help me do my job better. So with that, I want to hand it back to Joy.
Thank you so much, John and Jade, for that in-depth tour. That is so awesome. So in their demo, you really saw how Microsoft products across Entra that work really end-to-end together to help you secure access for anyone to any resources, and frankly, from anywhere. Adopting a single integrated solution not only gives your users a much better experience, as you saw Jade's experience, but also it advances your zero trust strategy. Our commitment to you is that we will keep scaling Microsoft Entra so that it is the trust fabric for every digital interactions for you. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of Ignite. But before you go, Nichole have a few announcements, so stay put.
Thanks, Joy. Thank you so much, everyone, and thanks again to John and Jade. So we also want to make sure that you don't miss tomorrow when Alex Simons and Sinead O'Donovan are doing a more in-depth session on Security Service Edge, SSE, as well as more awesome Copilot in action, of course. So if you're tuning in virtually, we'll be hanging out in the chat a little while longer for you. The rest of you, we hope that you stop by the Microsoft Entra Identity booth upstairs. And thank you so much, and have a great Ignite. See you soon.